today's video, I am crafting my stash using lots of Dollar Tree items to make some really fun home decor. I hope that you enjoy these DIYs. Let's get started. These little trays have been around for a long time. I know I've crafted with them before. You can easily add some feet to the bottom and make a little, I guess just using it as a tray with some feet on it. But we're gonna do something different with it. I'm gonna start by just cleaning it with some rubbing alcohol, and then we're going to paint it. And I'm just using some old paint. That's been the theme of my videos lately, but just wanting to show you that with the Waverly chalk paint, even when it is a little bit thick, if you just add in a little bit of water, I just had like a really, really damp brush and kind of pressed the paint into like the plate is what I'm using. It kind of reactivates and gets rid of some of the chunkier pieces, and you can still use it. So we're going to use up all my paint. We're going to give this a good coat. I'm doing this in mineral, I believe is the name of the color of the paint. And we're just going to give this, I'm not sure if I did 1 or 2 coats, but just give it a good coat of paint. Unless, of course, you want to leave it the color you get it in, then you're going to leave it. If you didn't want to paint this, as long as you liked some of the coloring, you could always cut out some scrapbook paper and put that down in the center. Of course, the edges is still going to be gold. That would be kind of hard to cover with some paper. Okay, so I guess I'm going to do 2 coats. 2 coats of paint. But this is, of course, just an idea. But if you liked the outer rim, you could decoupage, or you could put down some scrapbook paper, do something else in the center portion. We're going to be using this little tray and making a sign, some wall decor. So just, whatever works for you. And then I used these wall stickers from Dollar Tree, and I think they're really pretty, but there's so many options. And if you don't find things at your Dollar Tree, oftentimes towns have Dollar Trees everywhere. Sometimes I found ones like just by putting it into like Google Maps or whatever, and I'm like, I've never driven down the street. I had no idea there was another Dollar Tree. So, don't be afraid to explore, because yes, not all locations have the same, but I don't even think it's just regional, because I have some in my town that have better selections than others. So just to keep that in mind. But I use these pretty birds. I thought would make for a nice wall decor piece, but there are a lot of options. You could also use rub-on transfers as well. And then what I wanted to do was, well, I wasn't really sure at first. I'm using a stencil brush and I'm highlighting the edges. There's like a raised texture on this tray. And I'm using, I don't know, I think this might be Elephant by Waverly, or it might be Truffle. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to tell. But I built on it and ended up going across the whole thing. When doing this, I just suggest, go light at first. You can always add more, but it's a little bit harder to take it off. I mean, you can paint it with the other color again, but it's kind of like, a difficult cycle. So just build it up, start with a little bit, and then go from there until you have the desired look. And then I am going to seal all of this in with Mod Podge. I don't think the stickers would come off on their own. They're pretty sticky, although they are wall decor stickers and they are designed to come off walls. So I guess they could come off if you wanted them to, but I do think they would stay just fine. But I just like to seal my projects in. It's just kind of the habit I'm in, and it just prevent any like paint from chipping or anything like that. I don't know. You do you. But now, because I said we're making this into a wall decor piece, we have to put a little hanger on it. So I'm just using some like thicker jute, and I'm just, as you can see, kind of just making it a little loop. I did make sure it was low enough so that it wasn't going to be popping out the top. And I'm just using, this is actually, I think, like that rubbery shelf liner stuff. I had like scraps of it left because I don't throw things out. And I'm just putting that across the bottom of the jute just to make sure everything is, held in well. There wasn't like a way to screw anything in. So this is just an idea of how you could do that. I'm adding a little bit more hot glue. Anyways, that is it for this sign. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Again, so many options. You could put something with words, but I do like to have some pieces that don't have words, because sometimes it feels like everything is words. And I'm not one who's like done with the word decor, but you got to have a little variety. But I think this came out really nice. So that is it for this project. For our next piece, we're using something else from the Dollar Tree. It is a canvas, and I really like this print, but I like it even better by the end of this. So I'm going to start by pulling out all of the staples and the hanger because we're going to, I wanted to, we're not going to actually need the entire canvas for this, but I wanted to use the frame in the next project. I think it's the next one, another one in this video. So anyways, just use a little flathead screwdriver and some needle nose pliers. You can pull out those staples pretty easily. Just be careful because these frames inside are not made of wood. So if you're wanting to reuse them for a project, you don't want to completely destroy them. But once we get all of that out, well, I left a little bit more of this in than I thought. But I'll just say this, if you're new, welcome. My name is Leanne and I enjoy sharing budget-friendly DIYs on this channel. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so before you leave. Okay, so now we're going to take a frame. This is actually a pretty good frame. It's not from the Dollar Tree. I think it was like a gift or something. But feel free to use any frame that you have. And I'm just using the glass to trace out the size of the part of the canvas that I'm going to cut out. The glass works great because, of course, you can see right through it. Now, I don't typically trust my cutting to have like a perfectly straight line. So I'm using my paper cutter here, but I had to trim it off at first to get into the paper cutter. But, you know, if you trust yourself, go ahead and cut a straight line. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I can follow the line I wrote. I don't know. It just felt like it's not. Okay, I can cut a straight line and I can follow the line I drew, but, you know, it's better when it's done with a paper cutter, okay? All right, so I cleaned the glass and we're just going to pop that canvas print back in, and I love how this print looks. Let me know what you guys think about it. I don't normally do any like coastal stuff, not that we live super far from the coast, but I don't usually decorate with it, but something about the different frame or having it framed just, I don't know, made me love this print even more than I did in the beginning. We're going to go old school with some calendar DIYs. I don't know that it's old school, but I don't think I see them trending as much, but calendars still have really pretty images. And now this is from an older calendar, but I think calendars are still a great way to find images for your DIYs. And we're going to use the frame from the canvas from our last project, and I'm just tracing it out, and I was looking, oh, that lemon one's really nice too. Once again, I wanted to use my paper cutter, but it just wasn't the right length. I need a bigger paper cutter, I think is what needs to happen, but that's all right. We got it figured out, and I wanted it to fit pretty well across the back, but then with calendar pages, I guess I'm going to trim this up a little bit more. With calendar pages, you do have to be careful because you can see through them sometimes. You can see the grid on the other side. I forgot I did this. Okay, this is what happens when you film and then you do the voiceovers. The way it was cropped, I felt like it cut out a lot of the peaches. So I took the scraps and kind of fussy cutted out some of the peaches, and I ended up just Mod Podging them on. And I feel like it looked, or not Mod Podging, I just used a good old glue stick, and I forgot to film it. But I just glued them on, and I feel like they look like they were supposed to be there. So just something to, think about. But the calendar page is so thin that, one, I didn't want you to be able to see through it. And two, I just felt like it would be a sturdier piece if I attached it to some cardstock. So I have this like brown cardstock paper that I love. I use it a lot. I got it from burlap.com. And I am just making sure, that everything's looking right. And then I'm going to glue this. Guys, right now's your time. Public service announcement. School supplies are out. Go get yourself some glue. Great time when it's all really cheap. Buy some for the year for your crafting projects. Glue sticks work great. So I'm letting that dry, and we're just going to paint the frame. You can tell that it's not a wood frame. It's like MDF or something. And so it's not like a high quality frame, but when you paint it, it kind of disguises the material a little bit. So I do recommend it, even though I don't mind the color of the MDF, but we're just going to paint that on all the sides but the back. And then I was trying to use up some glue from my stash, and this one was struggling to come out. So I'm painting it out with a paintbrush because I'm using up what I've got. So I wouldn't recommend using a hot glue gun because I feel like there's no wiggle room to get it exactly straight. So I would use some kind of liquid glue, and this was, I don't know, some kind of liquid glue that I got at Dollar Tree probably like 5 years ago. So I'm just going to make sure there's nothing oozing out the edges, and then this allows me to just apply it exactly the way it needs to be, and then I just placed some heavy things on it for not a long time, but a little bit to let it set. And then I'm just going to hammer on the sawtooth hanger that came with the canvas sign, just so that I could hang that up. But I love how this came out. Let me know what you guys think about this one. And are you still using calendar pages? Do you have some calendars in your stash? Maybe look, coming up in the next couple months, calendars are going to hit the stores for next year. And, or you can use your calendar pages from your calendar that you were using, to keep track of things. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. This little house sign came from the Dollar General for $1, and they do still have a lot of stuff for $1. I don't know if this type of thing is, I'm not sure, but I often buy things there when they're on sale at the end of their seasons. I can usually get stuff for like 50 cents or less. So we're going to scrape off the paper. This was a little bit of a challenge because the roof is like staple gunned in there, and I didn't want to mess with that. So I had to just work around the metal roof, and it basically is just a lot of spraying, soaking, scraping, and eventually it comes off. The hardest part is usually on these projects getting the first layer off, and then the rest comes off easier. And I just scraped real close to the roof line and got it all off. Now I have a clean slate, so I'm just going to paint this with some chalk paint. This is that chalk paint from Dollar General, but you can paint this at whatever color you want. If you are enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're on like a phone or a tablet and you're able to hype this video, I would really appreciate it. I know you're only allowed so many hypes per week, but I so appreciate it when you share those with me, and it just helps out my channel. With YouTube, it's a tricky thing, and sometimes people see your videos even if they're subscribed, sometimes they don't, and new viewers and all of that, it's just hard to reach people. So any little thing that you can do like that, I appreciate it. Once I had a couple coats on and painted it, I'm going to just sand it with a fine grit sandpaper just to smooth it out. And then I think I did go along the edges maybe a little bit to bring out the, original piece, just to give it a little distressing. And then I wanted to paint the roof, so I'm just putting in some scrap pieces of paper to kind of protect my surface here. And I'm painting it black. This is also going to help because the metal roof, you can't really see it from here, but doesn't quite go all the way to the bottom of the roof line on all of these, on both sides. So this is going to make it all blend in. So I'm going to paint it black, and then I actually do go in, I think, and change that. But now we're going to go in with some Dollar Tree rub-on transfers. Does anyone remember these? Does anyone still have any in their stash? I got some from my mom, so I do have a few in my stash, but they were a good one. Dollar Tree, where are you? Give us some more rub-on transfers, please. They had really good ones when they came out with them. They just didn't come out with a lot. But I'm going to layer what we're doing on here, so you could Mod Podge on something or not. But I'm going to use a rub-on transfer and then add some words on top of it. I like the layered, I like the textured. I feel like some of those details make things look, I don't want to say more store-bought as if looking handmade is bad, but they just look a little bit nicer when you add some details. So I try to keep that in mind with my crafts. I'm using stickers and a pair of tweezers. Tweezers are very helpful with putting on little stickers, and I try to just tap them down on the edge and lightly until I have everything in place and everything centered and looks the right way. I start in the center of the word and work my way out, and then I press the stickers down. So here's an example. I am switching out the font as well. So I think the stickers on the right are probably from Hobby Lobby, and the stickers on the left are definitely from Dollar Tree. My hand was cramping there, I guess. Actually, I've been having a lot of issues with my shoulder and arms and hands and neck. My upper body is struggling, so I don't know if that was what that was about. I didn't realize that was in there. And I'm also showing you, sometimes what's hard about the stickers is that like you run out, you don't have all of the letters you need anymore. I'm not afraid to cut them up and, use some of the punctuation or the numbers or a letter that you don't use very often and piece it together. So that is what I'm doing here. Just kind of thought I'd put that out there for you. If you are here and watching, leave me a comment down below. Not only does that help out my channel, any interaction helps out my channel, but it helps YouTube continue to show you my videos as well. And it lets me know that you're here, and I love to hear from you. All right, so once all of our letters were down, it says, "Love builds a happy home." I'm just using a stencil brush and some antique wax on top of the black roof because I just wanted it to make look a little bit older because that's what I like. I'm also gently bringing that across the whole thing with a very little antique wax on my paintbrush. But of course, if you don't like that, then I got too much, so now I'm sanding it down to lighten it up. But you do you. If you like that rustic look, then go for it. If you don't like that rustic look, then obviously you're going to skip that step. But I am just showing you, if you get a little too much, you can always touch it up with a little white paint, or I'm just gently going over it with a little piece of sandpaper and yeah, just working with it and till I like how it looks. And then we're going to seal it in with Mod Podge. I do feel like that's helpful with these stickers. They're sticking just fine, but I don't want them to, pop up, a few months from now. And then also on the roof line, just to seal in that paint. Now we're not done with that because I wanted to layer the house and give us a larger piece. So I'm taking a sign from the Dollar Tree, and we're not going to do a whole lot here. I'm going to cut down, once again, this cardstock from burlap.com, but you can use anything you want. You could also just paint it, but I didn't want to. There's a border, which I wanted to leave the frame. I wanted this to just be really simple. And this one I did have to cut it out because it wouldn't fit in my, it would not fit in my paper cutter. So this is how I did it, but do however you like. But this was just a lot easier, and I like the color of this paper. So it is a thicker cardstock, so I'm putting a good coat of Mod Podge, and we're just going to press it in there. I am going to use this little squeegee tool. This is from Plaid, which is the company that creates Mod Podge, and I love this. You could use a credit card or something, but this is rubbery, and so it doesn't tear the paper, and I'm just squeezing that out, flattening it, and making sure any excess Mod Podge comes out of the edge. And then I'm going to just take the staple and the metal hanger off the top. We're going to save that because you might need it someday. And we're going to place that on top. But before I glue it down, I wanted to kind of play with embellishing the top. I left the frame on the rectangular sign exactly as it was. I didn't do anything with that. That part was really just basic and simple, just covered up the Christmas sign. And now I'm just layering some greenery. Once again, I think if you have some greenery scraps and you can layer, or floral scraps, whatever, and layer multiple different kinds, it just works really well. So these I was just kind of lining up, and then I'm using a bow. This was also from burlap.com, and it came on a twist tie, so I'm just attaching it that way, but you could either hot glue each greenery piece down or tie it with some twine, but we work with what we got around here. So I wanted to find the placement for that detail before I attached my house, and zhuzh and fluff and pull off the tag because you don't want to leave that on there. And then I'm going to hot glue the house in a place where it looks good to me. But I think just layering a smaller piece onto a larger sign can just make more of an impact, give you a larger sign, which sometimes things are too small from the Dollar Tree by themselves. Anyway, I love this one. Let me know what you guys think. How do you like how it came out? What would you do differently? Would you, I don't know, paint it a color, leave off the words? Really, the world is your oyster. Do what you like, but I do like how this one came out, and I am working through my stash, guys. I've got so much, and I am determined to work through it and use it all up. I hope that you enjoyed this one. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a comment down below. Also, if you made it to the end, please leave me a yellow heart emoji to let me know that you made it all the way to this point. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.